So I've already talked about how bad of a state Sonic was in the 2010s before. Besides the massive hits that were Sonic Colors and Sonic Generations, things were not looking good for the franchise. Sonic games doubling down on the god-awful, cheesy writing and tanking his reputation further with the Sonic Boom branch of the franchise made it seem more over than it was before. I also talked about Sonic Frontiers and how that game brought Sonic back to being cool again, but Frontiers wouldn't exist if it weren't for the Sonic the Hedgehog movies. Now, this is gonna be a first for my channel, mainly because I'm doing a movie review and not a game review this time, but it's still in the realm of gaming since, you know, video game movies. Honestly, I wish I could review other things on this channel since I'm passionate about more things than just gaming. If my audience would watch, I'd love to review some movies, TV shows, and anime someday. If you guys would like to see me do that, leave a comment below. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, back to the movie. I'm not gonna go over the behind the scenes or the man-hog that much since, well, everybody was there for that. I was there, you were there, we all know about the old design, so I'll just summarize it. Sometime around 2015, so the Sonic Boom era, we first got news about a live-action CGI hybrid movie about the Sonic series. Knowing the type of movies in this genre, it was more than fair to not be excited in the slightest, not to mention the overall state of the Sonic series at the time. The teaser posters and the leaked merch were scary, and the original trailer was downright horrifying. It received a ton of backlash before Paramount did the ballsiest move imaginable by delaying the movie in order to fix Sonic's design. The original release date was supposed to be November of 2019 and it ended up being delayed to Valentine's Day 2020. They brought in Tyson Heese to do the redesign, aka the guy who made Sonic's Big Fat Adventure, aka the director of the Sonic Mania animated shorts as well as the other web shorts on Sonic's social media, aka the guy who did some artwork for the Sonic the Hedgehog comics for Archie and IDW, aka my main inspiration for art, and the man who saved the Sonic series. I know it was sadly cancelled, but you should check out his original story, Diesel, if you get the chance. It's got great writing, and the art is unsurprisingly really vibrant and expressive. What was I talking about again? Oh yeah, the Sonic movie! So anyway, Tyson Heese worked on the Sonic movie redesign, the second trailer came out, and the internet loved it. It's a much more visually appealing design than the Man-Hog, and it generally just looks more Sonic-y. Alright, put the movie on. Oh, that's nice. The Sega logo at the beginning has a bunch of games they made throughout the years. Hey, wait a minute! We're living in a timeline where Sonic Lost World is in a mainstream Hollywood movie! Already, you know it's not set in the same universe as the games, taking place in the real world with all the Sonic stuff being otherworldly. When it comes to adaptations, I don't mind them being different as long as they maintain the spirit or message the source material was known for. Keep that in mind for later. The opening sequence has them pull a "you're probably wondering how I got in this situation" on us, where Eggman chases Sonic through San Francisco, and it's our introduction to the Blue Blur himself, voiced by comedian Ben Schwartz.
I'll be on you 24/7. I'll be like your family. I'm here when you get here in the morning. Sure enough, I'll be there tucking you into bed at night. Don't worry, it's not gay. Do we have questions?
Schwartz loves to voice characters who are blue, huh? Honestly, Ben is a pretty good fit for Sonic. He's got that haha funny man energy that Sonic should have, and he can get serious when the moment calls for it.
You're gonna see Wade in that glass thing? What is it, a teleportation box?
But for the most part, he just does a lot of lame pop culture jokes that I'm not really a fan of. I know there's a canonical explanation for this, but that doesn't make it any less annoying in my opinion.
She was basically Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Can you believe Amazon is gonna deliver packages with these things? I feel just like Vin Diesel.
Wait a second, did you steal that from Oprah?
It's like Professor X meets the Monopoly Man.
Oh, great, the Winter Soldier.
Alright, I get it!
Anyway, after that we get a flashback to Sonic's early years on an alien planet resembling South Island from Sonic 1. Sonic boosts through Green Hill Zone as Hyper Potion's Friends is playing in the background. Fun fact, besides Green Hill Zone in the opening and ending of this movie, this is the only song from the games to be put in the movie. Everyone knows you can't have music directly from the source material, especially if said source material is known for good music. Hey, who put this here? Okay, I promise I won't nitpick that much, I swear. Anyway, this is the part where we're introduced to Sonic's adopted guardian, an owl named Longclaw. Immediately, she gets hunted down by echidnas and Sonic is sent to Earth as the title drops. okay, bye, Longclaw, I guess. Anyway, 10 years later on Earth, we're introduced to Tom, played by James Marsden. As he talks with his buddy Wade, you get the feeling that he doesn't really like his job. Also, this line from him is basically my overall thoughts on this movie.
It was kind of funny. Sorry.
Finally, something interesting happens to Tom. Sonic tests out his speed with Tom's radar before Tom gets superstitious when he finds one of Sonic's quills. After Tom drives off, Sonic saves a turtle from getting hit by a truck. Now, I know I'm not gonna find any high art in this movie, but if they wanted to make the movie a little more interesting, what if this was the first time we saw Sonic? Think about it. Throw all the stuff from the opening away and start with this scene.
Buddy, you almost got yourself killed out there.
Obviously, everything from the opening would still happen, but it would be sprinkled throughout the movie and played like a mystery somehow. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Anyway, this next scene is one of my favorites in the movie. Sonic takes the turtle on a joyride with Don't Stop Me Now from Queen playing in the background, before showing us his little cave. Of course, Sonic's been living on Earth undetected all these years, stealing things and picking up on pop culture. If he's ever discovered, he'll just use one of his rings to escape to a mushroom planet. I love how Sonic's time spent on Earth was just him spying on Green Hills and the people in it. He even gives characters their own nicknames like Donut Lord and Pretzel Lady. Is that fucking Sonic? Before talking more about Sonic, this next scene shows more of Tom's character and later how it contrasts with Sonic's. As much as he loves Green Hills, he wants to move to San Francisco to become a street cop. We're also introduced to the best character in the series, Ozzy. Can I just say something though? As far as human sidekicks and live action animated hybrid movies go, Tom and Maddie are pretty top tier. Tom's subplot fits in nicely with Sonic's and doesn't hijack the narrative all too much, like in, Smurfs, for example. Also, I'm glad Tom's subplot isn't anything too stupid like going through relationship issues or anything like that. They have their shit together and I like that. Also, the joke where Maddie pulls out the wrong cake when Tom's been accepted to the SFPD got a chuckle out of me.
You never had a doubt, huh?
No.
It was kind of funny.
What's this movie called again? Oh right, Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's talk about him, I guess. Unlike Sonic from the games, movie Sonic is characterized as a hyper-innocent child. Since he was forced from his original home, he was lucky to be on Earth and all he hopes for is to someday not have to hide from everyone. After Sonic witnesses kids playing baseball, he decides to try it out by himself at night. This is the first part of the movie where Tyson Hesse's design for Sonic really shines and show off its cartooniness. God, it's so perfect. Anyway, after Sonic scores a home run, it just hits him how alone he truly is, so he does the only thing he knows what to do in moments like this: run. Sonic starts running around the field faster and faster, getting filled with more and more sorrow before it quite literally bursts out of him, and this results in a nationwide power outage.
I'm sure no one noticed that giant blue explosion, right?
Finally, we can start talking about the villain. Wait, is that the voice of Grounder from The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog? I think it is. Anyway, the power outage is so severe, government officials at the Pentagon are trying to figure out what's the cause. They ultimately decide on sending in the brilliant and weird Dr. Robotnik, played by comedy legend Jim Carrey. Carrey fits Robotnik astonishingly well. You can tell he's improvising a lot of his lines and just overall having a lot of fun. His introductory scene is where he belittles the fuck out of the army dude, and it's really funny.
You know why nobody cares who you are? Because nobody cares about your feeble accomplishments. And nobody cares how proud your mommy is that you're now reading at a 3rd grade level.
It was kind of funny.
Anyway, with Robotnik's drones on the loose, they eventually uncover one of Sonic's footprints that I'm assuming they forgot to change during the redesign, and Robotnik determines that the footprint belongs to an alien. With the woods being swept by drones and the mad scientists wanting to dissect him, Sonic decides that the time to leave Earth has sadly finally come. The safest place he can think of is Tom's garage, so he heads on over. Thinking it's just a raccoon, Tom decides to bring a trank gun to scare it off before we all see that one clip from the trailer.
Meow?
You know, if I saw a large blue talking hedgehog in my house, I'd probably be scared shitless too, but I think this scene was specifically written with the manhog in mind. So anyway, Tom accidentally shoots Sonic. Sonic reads Tom's San Francisco shirt out loud. He drops his rings and a portal to San Francisco opens. Sonic drops his rings onto the Transamerica building before the portal closes. After Sonic wakes up, Robotnik makes it to Tom's house where the two of them have a pretty funny conversation. It starts off with them trying to outwit each other before it dissolves into them just throwing throwing around sarcastic insults. After Sonic accidentally reveals himself, Tom has no choice but to punch Robotnik in the face and take out the drone. Afterwards, yeah, this is a road trip movie. So of course it unfortunately falls into some road trip movie cliches, like something along the lines of, "Are we there yet?"
When are we gonna get there?
We will get there when we get there.
Or a scene where the two of them stop at a bar or rest stop or whatever. Speaking of which, Tom stops at a bar to call Wade and Sonic gets distracted so he runs into the bar. In another moment of character building, Sonic quickly makes up a bucket list of things he wants to do, but he realizes he'll never get to do any of them since this is his last night on Earth. Tom decides to stay in the bar for a little more time so Sonic can get some things off of the list. Admittedly, it's a little corny, but kinda cute when Tom later sees that one of the things on the bucket list says, "made a real friend." Also, since the first trailer, I knew there was gonna be a Quicksilver scene. This movie's hitting all the cliches, isn't it? But honestly, I don't really mind since it's so fun to watch and so in character for Sonic. He stops to take a selfie, the way he takes care of the people fighting in the bar is creative. Hell, he even eats chili dogs while doing it. Also, I think this movie has some pretty neat song selections. They feature lyrics that go with the movie, like basically the entirety of Don't Stop Me Now, and this song's lyrics of "same old shoes with a new attitude." On an unrelated note, sometimes the humor sadly doesn't land.
Oh, come on. Okay, so what's this next planet you're supposed to go to like?
There's no people, just breathable air and giant mushrooms and stuff.
Well, look at it this way. At least you won't be the only fun guy.
Also, this isn't the first time a Sonic character was labeled a terrorist. You know, I said this movie has a lot of cliches, but I was kinda surprised there isn't a forced third act breakup you see in a lot of kids' movies. They still argue over something, but it feels natural, and the way it's resolved does wonders to this movie's pacing. So Sonic asks what's on Tom's bucket list, so Tom tells him of his plan to move to San Francisco and leave Green Hills behind. Sonic doesn't like that he's taking his home for granted and argues that he's already helping people out in Green Hills. To make matters worse, Robotnik finds them and sends a tank to kill them. Finally, something that feels like Sonic! This chase is pretty entertaining. Even if Sonic is still mad at Tom, there's other things to be worried about right now. The pickup truck gets damaged to hell and back, the tank refuses to go down in one hit, hell, even Tom gets to fight it while Sonic drives. And of course, Sonic rolls into a ball and bashes into it.
Ha-ha! Nailed it!
After Sonic gets knocked unconscious while trying to get rid of a bomb, Robotnik decides to use the quill he found earlier to power his machinery while Tom completes the trip to California. He reunites with Maddie, but her sister Rachel makes a fuss when she sees him. Also, she basically has the same role as Patty and Selma from The Simpsons. Honestly, she's pretty funny, especially when she passes out upon seeing Sonic and her helpless cries when she's tied up soon after.
Jojo, untie your mother. Jojo, untie mommy. Sweetie. Jojo!
I have to go to the bathroom.
That was kind of funny.
After Maddie wakes Sonic up, Tom explains that they have to take him to the Transamerica building. Maddie does freak out a little bit, but she doesn't have a hard time digesting this information. And neither did Tom, since the Green Hills montage had Sonic mention Crazy Carl being onto Sonic's existence. And she even acknowledges that Tom did always want to help people, so she goes along with it and even steals Rachel's car. Also, I'm not sure where she got these, but Jojo, Rachel's daughter, gives Sonic the iconic red and white shoes. You can tell they didn't want to show Sonic wearing the old colorless shoes that much in the movie, but now that he has the actual good-looking shoes, it's no problem.
Hello? Anybody there?
Do you have your child in that bag?
No. I mean, yes, it's a child, but it's not mine. Relax. I'm a cop, okay?
Plus, he likes it in there, don't you, buddy?
Why would I like it in here? This is worse than the dog cage you had me in earlier.
That was kind of funny.
After that funny elevator bit, they finally make it to the top of the building. Sonic gets his rings as the three of them prepare to say their goodbyes. Sonic apologizes for being so hard on Tom earlier, saying that walking away from something he cares about must be painful. He even thanks Tom for saving his life. As Sonic throws a ring to get ready to retreat to the Mushroom Planet, Robotnik shows up uninvited. Now, I like the all-black look from before, but now we finally have a design more in line with the game Robotnik. Goggles, a red flight suit, and a snazzy aircraft matching his drones. Speaking of drones, they look kinda like eggs. You know, since Sonic was calling Tom the Donut Lord and Maddie Pretzel Lady, I wonder what he's gonna call Robotnik.
Your flying eggs are pretty impressive, Mr. Eggman.
They did it! Those bastards did it! His real name is Dr. Robotnik, but Sonic is the one who comes up with the nickname Eggman just to fuck with him. It's just like the game canon. I won! So anyway, who the fuck is Sam? So anyway, Sonic pushes Tom and Maddie off a building. After Sonic uses his super speed to mess around with some of the missiles, Robotnik activates the quill so his aircraft is just as fast as Sonic. Now Sonic has to act fast. He reaches for a ring just to barely grab on to teleport Tom and Maddie back to Green Hills.
All right, Eggman. You want to get fast? Let's get fast.
Guys, am I brain dead, or was that a reference to Tim Burton's Batman movie?
Now you want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts.
Now we finally make it full circle, as this is the chase scene showcased at the beginning. Robotnik fires away, causing a lot of property damage, while Sonic acknowledges that no one has ever caught up to him before. I'm assuming Sonic's knowledge of pop culture is what determines the next places the chase takes them to, since they warp to the most typical of places like Paris, China, and Egypt. Now you see, kids, in this scene, Sonic runs around Robotnik, creating a tornado of sand, blinding Robotnik. This is of course a clever reference to the best TV show ever made, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, where Sonic does the exact same thing. As Sonic runs up one of the pyramids, he warps to Green Hill as soon as Robotnik successfully shoots him with a missile, severely injuring him. I love how his encounters with Sonic turn him more and more insane. He just straight up sounds like Mike Pollock's Eggman now. Right before he's about to kill Sonic, Tom uses a ring to teleport on top of the craft to beat the shit out of Robotnik again. Also, Wade and Crazy Carl show up. That's it. The movie decides to specifically point it out like it's a big deal or something, but they literally do nothing in this climax. Oh man, you sure like to complain over nothing. Oh, what are you reviewing this time? Oh, it's just the Sonic movie. Oh yeah, the Sonic movie! It's such a classic. It's got such an appealing art style and the music is top tier. I still love how they gave Knuckles a hat. I also really like the stuff with Metal Sonic. What about you? No, I meant the other Sonic movie. You know, the live action one?
Oh, come on.
Oh.
I'm out of here.
Tom says that Sonic knew more about being human than Robotnik ever will, finally calling Sonic his friend. Suddenly, Sonic awakens with his powers seemingly finally in control. Did I mention that everything after the missile scene is the best part of the movie? If not, everything after the missile scene is the best part of the movie. As Sonic gets ready to face Eggman head on, as well as Eggman preparing to fire at Sonic, we get some really pretty shots like seeing Sonic's electricity being reflected in Eggman's goggles. Just like the game, Sonic defeats Eggman by bumping into him multiple times before he signals Tom to throw a ring behind Eggman, leading to the Mushroom Planet. Sonic rams into the machine one last time, defeating Robotnik. At least for now. So now Tom finally decides to stay in Green Hills since he's already saved Sonic's life. Life in Green Hills resumes like normal as Tom and Maddie repair the house. After a weird Olive Garden joke, the army guy from the Pentagon leaves the movie. No, seriously, it wasn't even a product placement or anything. They just deliberately put in a joke that just amounts to, you guys should eat at Olive Garden.
Have you tried their never-ending pasta bowl? It never ends.
Again, I'm not complaining, it's just kind of random, and I think it's kind of funny. I don't know. I kind of want to eat at Olive Garden now.
To be honest, I'm pretty pumped about the funny pasta bowl.
The movie ends with Tom and Maddie essentially becoming Sonic's adoptive parents. They tell him to go back to his cave, which is all now relocated to their attic. I'm not sure how they knew where Sonic's cave was, but regardless, this is a nice and heartwarming ending. Before the movie truly ends, we get a couple of teases for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. For one, Robotnik is still alive on the Mushroom Planet. He's been there for a while already and is starting to go more and more insane. He even does a Castaway bit where he refers to a literal stone as Agent Stone.
Why don't you get a head start? Do some reconnaissance! Reconnaissance! Come on, that's hilarious! What's the matter with you?
I don't know why they decided to reveal this in the first trailer, but Eggman's look is finally completed with his head shaved and mustache grown. Eggman says a lesser man would die here, but he'll be back by Christmas. The second tease is after the credits. Am I the only one who doesn't like the song that they use? Also, the pixel art is really amateurish. I'm only pointing this out since the sprites and song are much better in Sonic 2. Anyway, the next tease always gets me me hyped no matter how many times I see it. Miles Tails Prower has entered the movieverse.
I just hope I'm not too late.
So, that was Sonic the Hedgehog, not to be confused with Sonic the Hedgehog or Sonic the Hedgehog. This movie isn't perfect, far from it. Sometimes the jokes don't land, it can get a little generic at times, and for a movie called Sonic the Hedgehog, there really wasn't that much pulled from the source material, but regardless, it's still a good movie. When the jokes land, they land. It also steers clear of some unfavorable cliches, like the third act disagreement, and even if there wasn't enough Sonic, there's enough to be considered serviceable, and overall it's still a competent and well put together movie. As far as video game movies go, I'm glad Sonic didn't get a bad one like so many others. You know, honestly, it wasn't as bad as I remember it being. Now, unsurprisingly, the Sonic movie was a huge success. Fans loved it and so did the general audience. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's what got Sonic popular again. So of course, a sequel was put in the works. Man, can you imagine if the movie flopped? It would make the Eggman and Tails teases a lot more sad. And funny. Anyway, for this sequel, Jeff Fowler and his team wanted to incorporate more things from the games, taking heavy inspiration from the Genesis Sonic 2 as well as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. With Tom and Maddie on vacation, Sonic teams up with Tails to save the world from Eggman. Just like Sonic 3, Eggman teams up with everyone's favorite Porcupine in the block with the buff chest, Knuckles the Echidna. The main MacGuffin the four of them would be searching for was none other than the Master Emerald. With more action set pieces pulled from the games, more interesting locations, and Idris Elba as Knuckles, the entire Sonic fandom got hyped for the next installment in the SCU. Let's not waste any more time. Without further ado, here's Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Right where the first movie left off, Robotnik is living on the Mushroom Planet. Robotnik's apparently been living on this planet for almost an entire year. Soon we see that he's constructed a satellite out of leftover parts from his aircraft using Sonic's quill to activate it. As it knocks him out, it sends some sort of SOS signal across the galaxy. Later that night, these things step through the ring portal. You wouldn't know who they were unless you read the Sonic 2 prequel comic. That's the second time a Sonic product came up with a prequel explaining what happened to Knuckles. Oh, speaking of which, after Robotnik beats up these jokers, we get our first look at Knuckles. After the past few games treating him like a joke, his first few seconds of screen time already does wonders to his character. Again, he's also voiced by Idris Elba.
I'm down with the rats. I have a thing with rats.
And you're on a team with me?
Not something I asked for. You're laughing at me for, man. Why the fuck are you in your underwear? Tighty whities? Really? Now that's just racist.
After the title drop, Sonic attempts to stop a robbery in Seattle, Washington. If this scene is anything to go by, the humor definitely has changed a little bit. The groundedness from the first movie is still kinda present, but the sequel doubles down on the goofiness. Sometimes I don't mind that much, but it's only an issue when, once again, the jokes do not quite land. Also, I don't want to nitpick too much, but this scene is kinda not that well put together. I don't know, it's just minor things like Sonic being able to rip the duct tape off that guy's mouth when the bars are separating them. Also, the kid in front of the truck was just standing there when the footage was being sped up, and the ice cream doesn't even fall naturally. Whatever. Anyway, yeah, Sonic stopped the bank robbery, he gets rid of the lit bombs in the truck, he completely disassembled the truck in order to stop it, and one of the bombs went into the storm drain, causing water to burst through all the manholes. Which is a clever reference to the Dreamcast classic Sonic Adventure. This opening serves as an introduction to Sonic's arc in this movie, learning to be a true hero. Once Sonic zooms back to Green Hills, he decides to get some sleep before Ozzy and Maddie wake him up for a fishing trip with Tom. Once there, Sonic falls into the water. Hey, you better be a little more careful, Sonic. Last time Tom was here, he was killed by Jean Grey in X-Men The Last Stand. Also, side note, the lowbrow fart jokes and flossing is back, but at least it's few and far in between. But again, it doesn't make it any less annoying.
closer because this little hedgehog had way too many chili dogs. Oh no, oh no. I'm so embarrassed. Get out of here, quick.
If you don't know how to floss, you'll be lost without me.
Back to Tom and Sonic. He knows about Sonic's little trip to Seattle, and Sonic tells him he was just trying to be a hero. Tom says that being a hero isn't about the fame, rather it's about taking care of others. Until his moment comes, it's Sonic's responsibility to cool it with the vigilante-isms. Honestly, again, this subplot may be a little generic, but it's a natural progression to take Sonic's character in these movies. After he uses his powers to save Green Hills in the first one, it makes sense for this Sonic to want to act a little more like a hero. Speaking of responsibility, Tom and Maddie go to Hawaii for the weekend since Rachel is getting married. This means Sonic is unsupervised and responsible for taking care of Ozzy. There's a fun montage of Sonic partying with him, doing things like referencing his mohawk from the old American Sonic art, using a ring portal to buy Oreo Thins? Why can't you just grab the normal Oreos? They were right next to you, Sonic! I changed my mind. This movie fucking sucks. Back in Hawaii, we get introduced to some of the human stuff in this movie. We're introduced to Rachel's soon-to-be husband, Randall. No, not that Randall, the other Randall.
Hey, I was just coming over to say
you
hi.
got a lot of nerve coming up in here after what you did to my fiance.
Wait, what?
Totaling her car, leaving her tied to a chair, man. I should rip you limb from limb. Oh my God, look at your face. Tommy, breathe, baby. Breathe. I was kidding. Hey, man, I was totally kidding.
Okay. It was kind of unfunny.
Just like the first movie, this one is at its best with the human stuff. Randall is pretty funny, and overall these actors are just really charming. There's only like one scene I felt didn't need to be in the movie, but the live action cast is still a great addition to the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. And of course, Tom FaceTimes Sonic to make sure he's not getting into any trouble. Speaking of which, Sonic gets into trouble.
Excuse me, we did not order a
Fingers!
Fresh from Mushroom Land, Eggman breaks the doorknob and announces his revenge. Sonic does not want to fucking hear it, so he's ready to not hold back and beat the shit out of Eggman. But of course, Knuckles punches him through a wall. It's kind of a shame that they didn't use the line, "Do I look like I need your power?" in a cooler scene than the original trailer.
Look, Robotnik, I don't care who you brought to help you. You're never going to get my power.
Do I look like I need your power?
Face it, you're never going to get my power.
Do I look like I need your power?
But the scene is still really cool as Knuckles establishes himself as a clear threat by slamming Sonic to the ground and pinning him to a tree. Again, this movie makes Knucks a badass again. He's competent, strong, and focused on his goal at all times. The only instances where he's not bright is with social cues, since he spent his early years alone, just like Knuckles' early game appearances. So as a result, Knuckles is a great fighter with great fish out of water humor. Knuckles seems to know of Longclaw, Sonic's long-lost guardian. When Knuckles mentions it's his destiny to restore ultimate power to his people, Eggman is intrigued. But we don't have time for that. Tails saves Sonic by ramming Knuckles with a car. Honestly, Tails is handled pretty well in the movie as well. He explains his backstory later, which is essentially just his backstory from the games, only he discovered Sonic after the baseball field incident. Tails has always been one of my favorite characters in the series, so I'm glad he's essentially the same in the movie. Hell, he's even voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, Tails' current VA from the games. Only thing I don't like is how much he dick rides Sonic, you know?
Only Sonic the Hedgehog could come up with something like that. Only Sonic the Hedgehog could win a dance battle that epic. Only Sonic the Hedgehog needs rescuing this much.
Wait, so you've been watching me this whole time? Even in the shower?
Ah, that's a trick question. Sonic the Hedgehog prefers bubble baths.
Also, minor thing, I thought Sonic would give Tails his nickname. Tom is the Donut Lord, Maddie is Pretzel Lady, Robotnik is Eggman, so I thought Tails would just introduce himself as Miles Prower before Sonic slowly starts to call him Tails. But I digress. Tails is a nice addition to the movie, and he isn't too different from his game counterpart. Anyway, the chase ends as Tails drives off a cliff and flies out using his twin tails, carrying Sonic away. With Eggman's plan going into motion, he alerts Agent Stone of his presence.
He's back!
Funny, I was gonna say the same thing to you, Stone. Man, I love this guy, he's so funny. For the better part of a year, Stone has been working undercover as a barista at a local coffee shop called the Mean Bean. Mean bean. I also think it's funny how after Eggman alerts him, he quickly closes the mean bean and changes the health inspection grade to an F-. After a satellite deploys an egg pod down to Earth, Eggman washes up and reveals his new look along with the returning egg-shaped badniks. Hey look, it's Buzz Bombers! Just like Sonic 3, Eggman forms an alliance with Knuckles to take down Sonic and find the Master Emerald, but as we later see, it's very one-sided. As Sonic and Tails take refuge in the Wade Cave,
Welcome to the Wade Cave, which is something I hope to someday say to a woman. A woman who's not my mom.
That was kind of funny.
Sonic needs to figure out why Knuckles thinks he's the key to finding the emerald. For some unexplained reason, Sonic's map activates a hologram of Longclaw. My guess is that they said the words Master Emerald enough times. Also, is it just me or is Longclaw a little more bouncy here? I mean, I guess she wasn't changed in the first movie since she's a little more realistic than the cartoon Hedgehog. But here it feels like they tried to make her a little more in line with the pre-existing Sonic characters. So anyway, Longclaw explains that Sonic was sent to Earth since it's the secret hiding place of the Master Emerald. Since she's dead, it's now Sonic's responsibility to protect it. Pfft, she's about 10 years late. But as Tails says, Knuckles is already here, so they need to find it first. Tails only came to Earth to warn Sonic, but after Sonic fist bumps Tails, he agrees to join the adventure. Honestly, I don't blame them for saying power bump instead of fist bump, since you know. After a funny interaction with Stone and Knuckles, we cut back to Hawaii where Tom is playing volleyball. God, he's so fine, I won't lie.
Those guys right there, they're way more than my groomsmen. That's my squad. Never would have made it through life without.
You know, considering the twist later, I wonder if Randall was being literal. Tom wishes Sonic could have a squad like that, and Maddie says he's a smart kid who will find his way. Sonic, of course, cannot find his way. The map tells our heroes that the emerald is located in Siberia. However, Tails can't get a good reading on his gadget, so the two of them decide to enter a pub until the blizzard clears up. Despite the people seeming intimidating at first, their visit to the pub seems to go smoothly. As mentioned before, Tails explains his backstory, but things get out of hand when the translator mistranslates their dialogue and the two of them are revealed to be aliens. Before they get thrown into the fireplace, Tails shouts Pivanka, which is apparently
a Siberian custom to resolve disputes.
According to Russian people online, this is complete bullshit. But anyway, Sonic and Tails do a dance-off with this dude in order to get the map back. For some reason, Sonic puts on Uptown Funk? I mean, I'm indifferent to it, but it's just the randomest song to put here. My boyfriend fucking hates it, and I think that's incredibly funny. I mean, at least Sonic does the SA1 box art pose. I thought that was kind of cool. Meanwhile, Eggman tracks Sonic's phone to Siberia.
Dot, 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 dot. Tiny magic dot destroyed.
Anyway, the next morning, Sonic and Tails continue their quest to find the emerald. It's at this point that they reveal that the Chaos Emeralds are connected to the Master Emerald in a way, but instead of the Master Emerald being the one that controls the Chaos Emeralds, here the Master Emerald is made out of the Chaos Emeralds. I think that's a neat way to keep the Chaos Emeralds in the plot without it being a far cry from the games. It's also mentioned that the owls and the echidnas have been fighting for the emerald for centuries.
Like Vin Diesel and The Rock.
Shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up!
As Sonic uses the symbols shown on his map on the giant owl statue, they're granted a magic compass that'll lead them to the emerald. Unfortunately, Eggman and Knuckles crash the party. God, can I just say, Jim Carrey is perfect as Eggman, not just personality-wise, but visually as well. Sadly, it's temporary, but when he puts on those goggles, that right there is Eggman. I really hope he keeps them on a lot more in the third movie, and bonus points if he wears a fat suit. Like Carrey says, Eggman goes through interesting evolution as the films progress, so give us fat Eggman, that would be cool. Anyway, Eggman fires a missile at the wall, allowing Sonic and Tails to make their escape. Sonic uses a Badnik's shell as a snowboard as he quickly slides down the snowy mountain, which is a neat visual reference to Ice Cap Zone from both Sonic 3 and Sonic Adventure. Knuckles also uses a Badnik as a snowboard to give chase to the Hedgehog. Eventually, Sonic gets knocked onto the edge of a cliff and loses all of his rings. Enraged at Sonic's constant jokes, Knuckles reveals that he lost everything because of Sonic. On the same day Sonic left his planet to live on Earth, Knuckles' tribe all vanished. His father's last words to him mirrored Tom's speech on the lake, tying Knuckles' arc with Sonic's. I think that's kinda neat. Not only do they both have to learn what being a true hero means, they also both lost their parental figures on that same day 10 years ago. But before Sonic can reason with Knuckles, Tails blasts Knuckles with a taser, leading to Knuckles branding Sonic as a deceiver. Before Sonic can throw Tails the compass, Eggman.png grabs it and throws a missile at Tails, knocking him out. As an avalanche makes its way down the mountain, Sonic unfortunately can't use Tails to fly to safety, so he urgently calls Tom. And what better time to be needing to be rescued than in the middle of the wedding? Good job, Sonic. Before Randall can put the ring on Rachel's finger, Tom's ringtone goes off. Something minor that pisses me off are these contact pictures. They're screenshots directly yoinked from the first movie. Unless Tom was using his phone while driving a pickup truck and Sonic uses his super speed to steal Tom's phone to take a picture of him at another angle, this movie is a 0 out of 10.
I am not watching Sonic the Hedgehog. Dude, that movie is the worst!
Wait, what was I talking about? Oh, the ring scene. After persistent calling, Tom steps aside to answer. Sonic tells him to picture the mountain so he can use the ring portal to save him. Unfortunately, Tom accidentally got the rings mixed up when he was playing with JoJo. So after Tom punches Randall to obtain the ring, the wedding guests are bombarded with snow. It's here that they mix a callback to one of my favorite Sonic eras with a hilarious joke and clever world building. After Sonic explains his quest to Tom, all the wedding guests reveal themselves to be federal agents and arrest Sonic, Tails, and Tom. Maddie, of course, is flabbergasted. The Olive Garden guy from the first movie comes back and refers to the whole thing as Operation Catfish.
Every single aspect of Operation Catfish was a complete fabrication.
Operation Catfish?
The way the priest reveals he's an agent is by opening his Bible to reveal a gun. You cannot make this shit up, it's so funny. Okay, here's where the reference is. After the events of the first movie, the Olive Garden guy formed a global task force to prevent the planet from alien threats. This, of course, is the Guardian Units of Nations, or GUN, from the Dreamcast era. I don't know if people share the same opinion, but I think this is the point where the movie starts to show its runtime. It's up to Maddie and Rachel to rescue the boys using Tails' gadgets. While they're captured, I feel like the movie needed to show a moment with Sonic and Tom. Before Maddie rescues them, it looks like they were talking about something, and it would have been nice to have another heart-to-heart before Sonic sets off on his quest again. It would have also helped the pacing, which sadly is this movie's biggest flaw. As funny as Rachel's wedding subplot was, it took time away from things that matter more in the story. If they really wanted to, they could have had the resolution during the baseball scene at the end. If not, it still would have been really funny if it ended with
Operation Catfish?
I mean, I'm just throwing it out there. But like I said, it's still really funny. Natasha Rothwell is a riot, and seeing her threaten Olive Garden guy, who I will now be referring to as Commander Walters since it's easier to type in the script. Seeing her threaten Walters with Tails' laser gun was great stuff.
Ha! Is that supposed to be a weapon?
I don't know, but we're gonna find out.
So yeah, her and Randall make up, Maddie rescues the boys, Walters is tied up, and Eggman and Knuckles use the compass to locate the Emerald's temple. Oh, I forgot they were in the movie. That's not a good sign.
Very disappointing, Agent Handle.
Wait, his name is Randall Handle? I changed my mind, this movie is peak. So anyway, Sonic self-deprecates while stating he's no hero, and he put Tails in danger by bringing him along. Sonic wants to fix this while he still can, so he prepares to run all the way to the temple. I love how in the first movie he clumsily crashes into the Pacific Ocean, but now he's basically running across it. From this point forward, this movie doesn't hold back on the fan service, and I personally couldn't be happier. The temple itself is a reference to Labyrinth Zone from Sonic 1, both visually and due to the fact that it's a literal labyrinth. They even have the long-ass slide from Act 3. As Eggman uses a GPS to determine the safer route, Sonic boosts through all the booby traps nicely and swiftly. I think even if Sonic and company aren't as cartoony as the first movie, it still shines in certain moments, like when Sonic is running away from the wall of spikes. Before Eggman has a chance of backstabbing Knuckles, Sonic falls in and won't let them get the emerald. So now we're at one last brawl between Sonic and Knuckles. I love how their rivalry is given enough time to feel like a true rivalry. Now that they're at the Emerald Shrine, neither of them hold back on their powers and go all out. They bounce off the walls, punch each other to the ground, and Sonic gets the upper hand by using his super speed. Of course, as they're both distracted, Eggman sneaks by and steals the Master Emerald, leaving Knuckles hurt and betrayed. As Eggman absorbs the power of the Emerald, he warps out of the temple as it starts to crumble. Despite his fear of water, Sonic submerges to save Knuckles. Just like the game, Sonic can't swim, but Knuckles can. Knuckles has a change of heart as he saves Sonic from drowning.
Save me.
Don't talk to me. I'm not in the mood.
On the beach, the two of them finally come to understand each other as Sonic paraphrases Tom's boat speech. He tells Knuckles that despite his shortcomings, he remains hopeful because of his new family and friends. As he gives out his hand, he assures him that he doesn't have to be alone anymore. This moment is probably the most movie Sonic has felt like game Sonic. He's not the usual juvenile joke machine we see him as. He's an inspiration to be a better person. As Tails flies by with the red biplane with the wedding banner from earlier, Knuckles joins the good guys for the climax. And Wade is also in the movie. And Stone. And Eggman wearing a maid outfit, and a Megamind outfit, and the classic outfit. After he bursts into the Mean Bean to arrest Agent Stone, Eggman warps in.
I can smell the electricity in your fingers.
With Tom, Maddie, and GUN outside their door, Eggman uses his newfound powers to squeeze some more fan service into the film. He takes apart their tanks and helicopters as well as a nearby train to build the iconic Death Egg robot. I love its design so much. It's huge, threatening, and overall I appreciate the amount of classic Eggman imagery seen throughout the film. Team Sonic flies in and tries to defeat the robot separately and unsuccessfully. Knuckles tries to punch its hand on ground level. It launches a bunch of missiles at the plane, which eventually gets destroyed by the robot's mustache, and Stone seems to have a Sega Genesis styled instruction manual for the Death Egg robot. In one of my favorite parts of the film, Sonic says they need to work as a team if they're hoping to defeat Eggman. It was mind-blowing to see Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles stand side by side as a team on the big screen. You know what else this means? Does anybody else just want to finish the movie already? As the fight continues, they make up a plan on the spot to have the Death Egg robot chase after Sonic, while Tails and Knuckles climb aboard to take the Emerald.
Alright, Mustache. You want me? Come.
You don't tell me about coming. I am on the cutting edge of coming.
After Tails faces off against CGI Robotnik, have fun on seeing that, Knuckles gets his revenge by doing what he did in Sonic 3 by punching the Emerald out of him. Weakened, Sonic limps his way to the Emerald while Eggman switches to an alternate power source to get it back. I swear, sometimes this movie has the sauce, man. Before Sonic is crushed, Tom and Maddie drive by to rescue him, but it's a short-lived victory as Eggman knocks them out of the truck, surrounding them with fire so they can't escape their death. Sonic can't even use the Emerald to save them because it breaks into pieces, revealing the 7 Chaos Emeralds inside. Fortunately, it breaks into pieces, revealing the 7 Chaos Emeralds inside. As Sonic holds his loved ones dearly, the Emeralds activate and latch onto Sonic right before Eggman can squish the Wachowski family. Huh. I've gone this long without mentioning their last name.
That was kind of funny.
Of course, the Chaos Emeralds transform Sonic into Super Sonic, which is how he finishes Eggman off. When this happened, my theater cheered. It was a legit surprise, if you ignore the McDonald's leak. After Super Sonic makes quick work of Eggman's robot, Eggman once again disappears for now. Now that Sonic holds the ultimate power of the universe, he uses it to wish a couple of chili dogs into existence before reverting back to his base form. Do you have anything to say, Tom? Don't you think that was kind of funny? Huh?
It was kind of
Sexy!
So Sonic says that he still has some growing up to do as his character arc of responsibility and heroism comes to a close. As Knuckles repairs the Master Emerald, Team Sonic becomes the new order of guardians for the Master Emerald. In other words, the Wachowski family adopts Tails and Knuckles. In a neat callback to the first movie, the film ends with the family playing baseball. It was funny seeing Knuckles not quite grasp the rules of the game as he punches the ball instead of using the bat. Before they go out for ice cream, Sonic refers to Tom as his dad before they race to the most obvious product placement I've ever seen. Sonic quickly zooms back to get the Master Emerald and the movie is finally over. Like I said, the credits are also much more visually appealing since they actually hired a pixel artist for it. Also, Stars in the Sky is so much better than Speed Me Up. And just like the first movie, there's a tease for Sonic the Hedgehog 3. As Gunn investigates the wreckage, they see no sign of Robotnik, but we can assure that he's still alive. After all, Stone is working undercover again. But as they were wiping Robotnik off of their database, they came across a file dating back more than 50 years. As we cut to a dark and abandoned research facility, it's made official. The third movie will feature Shadow the Hedgehog.
My God. Project Shadow.
Where's that damn fourth Sonic the Hedgehog movie?
So, that was Sonic the Hedgehog 2. It's not a better movie than the first one, technically. The pacing takes a nosedive during the third act, and the humor is once again hit or miss. But I still overall enjoyed my time with it. It's definitely a better Sonic movie than the first. It expanded on this universe's lore by introducing Tails and Knuckles, the Emeralds, Labyrinth Zone, and GUN. It finally did Knuckles justice after years of being characterized as a stubborn dumbass. It's a great adaptation of the original Sonic 2 as well as Sonic 3 and Knuckles. And of course, this movie as well as the first one is what introduced a whole new generation of Sonic fans. It created a kind of renaissance era for the franchise. The IDW comics are still going strong, they made a Netflix original animated series, and my opinions on it aside, I think it's cool that the 5-year-olds have something to enjoy too. And of course, Sonic Team was inspired to make something the fans would enjoy after 10 years of mishandling the series. They may not be perfect, but the Sonic movies are what brought Sonic back. And now here we are waiting for the Knuckles miniseries in less than a month, as well as the third installment in December. I mean, depending on when I upload the video, the series will probably already be out because I'm a fucking lazy idiot, but whatever. I probably won't review Sonic 3 until it comes out on streaming, and I'll probably talk about Knuckles, I don't know. I usually take a while when I watch TV shows. For example, I forgot to continue the original Dragon Ball sometime during the first tournament arc. I think I also forgot to continue Neon Genesis Evangelion a few years ago before I became a huge fan of it. And there's also Breaking Bad, and the Boondocks, and Regular Show, and Cowboy Bebop, and Cyberpunk Edge Runners, and Batman the Animated Series. Do you guys want to hear me talk about movies and TV shows?